Today's show is brought to you by Booked and Busy Talent. Booked and Busy Talent is a full talent agency that doesn't chase deals, they create deals. Clients receive counsel from strategic management consultants who have worked at Google for former President Barack Obama and in the healthcare industry. Their cross-industry business knowledge has helped them secure groundbreaking deals for their clients, such as first-team All-SEC gymnast Darian Go-Burn, the undisputed queen of the four, and Jackson State University two-sport human highlight reel Malachi Wyman. What are you waiting for? Get booked and busy today by contacting them at bookedandbusytalent@gmail.com to set up a future client consultation to get your NIL deals rolling. What's good? What's good? What's good? This is Raw Truth Media giving you the raw content that you deservedly need. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. It's starting to feel like Christmas everywhere we go. Jackson State's going to get some commits and piss some people off. It's signing day. This is Christmas, y'all. Yeah. So to join the channel, there's a link to join membership, $2.99. That is a gift to the people who support Raw Truth. Shout out to the Jackson State fans, Alcorn fans, Grambling State fans, Southern fans. And I know Southern's pissed off. I understand. But you're all welcome as well. The MEAC fans, FAMU fans, Alabama State fans, UAPB fans, Texas Southern fans. Where you at? Hit the like button. Share this video. So what are you looking forward to in signing day? That's going to be the question. And the call-in number is right here on the screen to call in and give your opinion. I think that Jackson State's going to remain number one. I don't think that changes. Also, I think by tomorrow, Grambling State will solidify themselves as number two in recruiting the HBCUs. Grambling State has been really impressive. They pretty much got California locked up. California is just, it has a fence around there for Hugh Jackson. That's something he has out-recruited Coach Brahman, is Cali. And that's impressive. But one thing that Coach Hugh Jackson is doing, he's using the resources he knows to make sure that Grambling State can have a chance to win a SWAC. They're not trying to, I've talked to a lot of Grambling players and fans. Grambling State is not trying to be second fiddle to anybody. They respect all their opponents. They actually, out of all the fan bases, the Grambling fans are the most secure fans. Yeah, they may talk trash to Jackson State fans when they're about to play each other, but it's been a respect. And that's how you can tell they're a blue blood. One of the few teams that are not hating on Jackson State because them themselves has so much good going on. And shout out to the alumni of Grambling State for the NIL deal. Is the collective NIL deal that they set up for their students. That's a game changer. And I expect Jackson State, FAMU, and all the other schools to follow suit because this is bigger than one school. This is about all of us. As you see SWAC content, HBCU content getting popular, one thing we cannot lose focus on is the Jerry Springer type of energy, dissing fan bases. Let's not do that. Because the powers that be, they want us to do that. They want us to act like buffoons and act like we ain't got no darn sense. So let me read some of these comments. Bentley, he said, hit the like button. Shout out to the one. He says, all I got to say is watch out for the G. Graham fam in the building. IP Freely says it's about to go down, and you know it's going down. The one says Graham fam. IP Freely believes that Jackson State's going to have 2 5-stars. Man, if Jackson State has 2 5-stars, all the haters are going to just run amok. I don't even care what the haters say right now. They're irrelevant. They're irrelevant. They can't stop this train that's going on right now. And when they see, hey, you know what's funny about that Jackson State hat? The Jackson State hat is like Jaws. How many of you have seen the movie Jaws? And when that shark coming around the shores, and you see innocent other tribe members, quote unquote, in that water, and you hear that music, dun 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 dun. That's that Jackson State hat. That Jackson State hat. When they see that creep on that table like that, woo, woo, they put the fear of God. That Jackson State, that Jackson State had got them shook. Terry Harris says they calling in bomb squad threats. Yeah, and I won't say the word because I don't want them flagging my channel. But those threats that they're doing to HBCUs is pathetic. And it shows the power that we have as a community. We're taking advantage of the NIL deals. We're taking advantage of the spotlight. Shout out to Coach Prime for bringing the spotlight to HBCU. Shout out to Coach Hugh Jackson for doing his part as well, and Willie Simmons. And don't forget Coach Fred McNair, who deserves his respect. So they're seeing all this, and they want to distract everybody and their mama on tomorrow. Now, one of those players are going to be in Jackson State tomorrow, either Perkins, Campbell, the lineman, who I believe is the top offensive lineman in the country, or Shamar Thomas. Stewart, I mean. He's either one of those players or both of them. That's what I think. James Ross, hey, man, you got to rep your school, man. You got to rep your school. He says JSU will remain standing. The G is coming hard, though. Yeah, you got to believe, man. No problem in that. You got to rep your school. I like that right there. I like that. Showing props without hating, but believing that your school can win it all. You know what the biggest lie has been? That Jackson State fans don't know what they're talking about. This is what old media says, right? But talking with JSU fans, what I come to realize is that even more, they want the SWAC to be recruiting the same level as them. They really do. They believe if all the other teams in the SWAC recruit at that level, the SWAC could be the marquee conference in the nation. There was a comment that let me see. Katie Hall says, can't believe JSU scheduled Edward Waters again. Got to be the weakest thing ever. I refuse to believe Coach Brown had anything to do with that. Wait, is that true? Let me know in the comment section. I'll hope to the Most High that Jackson State did not schedule Edward Waters. You know, I've been rooting for Jackson State this season and keeping it real. But I hope to the Most High that they did not schedule that weak team. When you getting dogs like Travis Hunter and those type of players, you got to at least have a normal schedule. I don't care if Jackson State had to go away. But I like Grambling State's schedule. Grambling State's schedule is going to have them battle tested in conference play. It's good enough for them to win games. Like Arkansas State, they won like 4 games last year, 3 to 4 games. Grambling can beat them. But if they don't beat Arkansas State, it will be a close game. That schedule is going to prepare them. But I hope that's not true. I hope Jackson State didn't schedule Edward Waters, man. I don't want to see that. Y'all know how Jackson State, man, Jackson State fans, y'all keep it real with me. Last year, when they played against a D2 team, they were lackadaisical. They weren't prepared. They just treated them as such, a D2 school. I hope that's not true. We can't have that. We can't have no SWAC teams. All SWAC teams gotta play better competition. We're trying to get multiple teams ranked within the SWAC. That's the goal. But I wanted to tell you guys an impact player on a transfer portal first. I'm gonna start with Grambling. Their impact player is Kajaya Holloway, the UCLA transfer. I looked at his film, and I'm not saying he's going to be the automatic starter, but I feel good about him being a starter. He could do it all, and he's balanced. He doesn't depend on a run. He could throw on a run. He played a couple of games in UCLA. Q Dog says, slow up. I went to Edward Waters. Shout out to Edward Waters. And I hope they have a good season. I'm just talking about each level, right? It's no different if you're an Alabama, not an Alabama fan. If you were, let's say you're a North Dakota State fan, and let's say Alabama schedule you. And let's say I was an Alabama fan. I would say the same thing. I would say, why would you schedule North Dakota State? It's not, I know they're good in FCS, but that's a waste of time. I would have said the same thing. So it's nothing personal. Waldo says they did it for Edward Waters. They did it for Edward Waters for homecoming. I'm hearing a bunch of stuff. I'm hearing that Jackson State couldn't find anyone. No one wants to play them. Here's what I think. Let's put this outside. Let's put this in perspective. I'm gonna go right back into the transfer portal impact players. But I wanted to make this statement. I think both things are true. I think that the teams that Jackson State wanted to schedule only wanted them to do away games. And Jackson State's trying to make that dough. And they're trying to do it on their own. I'm not saying this right, so don't go around saying, oh, DJ said Jackson State should schedule a week schedule. Nope, that's not what I said, because I wanted them to schedule a better schedule. Anybody but Edward Waters. That's a team worse than Delta State. At least Delta State was a ranked Division II team. Also, maybe there's not too many teams that want to do back-to-back, home and away. I know 2023 and 2024 are just regular. You know, they got Texas State, and I think they have Southern Miss. That suffice. But I'm going to be honest, I wanted Jackson State to play Kennesaw or play somebody from the South. They don't even have to be a juggernaut, just somebody. Like Houston Baptist is in the Southland Conference. Nicholls State, McNeese State, those teams, and make it work. But I'm waiting to see if that's true or not, because, you know, a lot of people think they're the sources and think that so I'm gonna wait and see if that schedule is true. We got 125 people in the building. Make sure to hit the like button. Also, if you want to call in, 857-799-9625, and we'll chime up and talk about it. But I'm telling you, back on subject, Kajaya Holloway for Grambling State is going to be just what they need for Grambling State. A quarterback in a SWAC is like godsend. When you have a quarterback in the SWAC that can do it all, it makes your life so easy. It can get you out of tough games. We have a caller right now. Let me see. Caller, you on the line? Can you hear me? Hold on real quick. Let me set this up real quick. Let me set it up. Let me get that volume up. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yesterday, trying to get pretty much lights on there. That's all that deal was. So we don't know for sure, but if it was, they were already on the schedule because remember, they played them back in springtime. And then traditionally you skip a year, but because they were Division II, they would come back to Jackson State just like it would be their money game.
Yes, sir, my brother. The beginning part was cut off because I just adjusted the audio. Can you repeat that again, my brother?
Okay. What the deal was is the Edward Waters was already scheduled. And if you remember, they played them last spring, which would have been the fall of 20. That's when they were originally supposed to play. And so there's like a 2-game schedule, but for every other year. But we don't know for sure if they were taken off for this year or not. Another YouTuber was pushing that yesterday, just so we can have content to push out there. So,
right.
Oh, God, Jackson State schedule. You got to always remember, these games are usually booked out 2 or 3 years ahead. That's before time really even got there.
Right. I have to say this, my brother. For this year, you're right about 23 and 24. But this year, I saw that there was 2 open slots for non-conference.
They made a schedule in 21, and that was a 2-game contract. I mean, back in 20, and it was a 2-game deal.
That's interesting.
So
yeah,
because you got to look at it like this. Okay, so like the Grambling game, like they made that got Grambling on the schedule. It's a money game, but it's not a conference game for this year. And, because you got to look at the headline of Deion Sanders against Hugh Jackson. Every black man in America will be watching that game. And it will be relegated to ESPN 15 or Lord knows opening Jackson State school video because you can't ever see replays, nothing. But nobody knows for sure if Edward Waters is on that. That's just a YouTuber pushing it out there if they are there for homecoming. So don't get so bit out of shape on that. You'll be fixed right there.
Exactly. And that's what we try to do here at Raw Truth. I know there's YouTube popularity, everybody trying to get the news first, trying to be Brian Gumble in this game. But the schedule's going to come out, this week or so? That's what I'm hearing. I'm not saying anything. I just hope it's not true. That's all I'm saying. I just hope it's not Edward Waters. I mean, have Houston Baptist, anybody. Sam Houston State. There's a lot of teams in the South. Something has to work. And if they got to go to neutral site, so be it. I'm at a point where I don't even care if it's a away game. I don't care if both non-conference games or away games. I just want to see some competition. I just want to see, I'm not, let's say, and this won't happen, let's say Jackson State scheduled North Dakota State. Let's say they lost, they barely lose. You think I'm going to be mad about that? I would hate for them to lose anyway, but I'll be like, hey, that's North Dakota State. They'll see them again. But
back on the scheduling thing, the only reason why we knew or know now that Jackson is playing Grambling in non-conference games because Grambling put their schedule out. We know they're playing Sam on the first game. We know they're playing Tennessee State second game. But we haven't seen Jackson State's schedule. They didn't come from Edward Waters. So, like I said, somebody's trying to create content. And so Jackson State had to get rid of somebody to get Grambling in that spot. So there is a good chance they bought out Edward Waters too. And before I get you throw me off here, I wouldn't mind seeing Jackson State play A&T.
I would love that, man, brother. North Carolina A&T. If Jackson State could schedule North Carolina A&T and have the rematch with South Carolina State, shoot, I'll go another. Either that or the rematch with ULM. You got options.
Or you can play Hampton because either way.
Oh yeah, that'll be dope.
So either way, they're in a different conference. They're in the Big South too, and so your strength of schedule ain't gonna be killed. Hampton,
right?
I graduated late.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, so you'll get your strength of schedule, and you look at what happened with Brian Flores today. We can do our own thing, brother. We don't even need the NCAA, to be honest with you.
Right. That's the stuff I'm on, brother.
Get back right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know what the problem is, my brother? A lot of folks, not all, have they want that complexion for protection. So they're afraid to do something that's new. See, it's post-traumatic slavery. Even though we're not slaves mentally, we act like it because we don't go against the grain and do for self. We're so powerful. I told the family, the Raw True family, that the Celebration Bowl outdid the FCS National Championship and outgenerated them. That's how powerful the black dollar is. So the NCAA needs us more than we need the NCAA.
Well, also is this. I remember last week when everybody was jumping up and down about the Birmingham game down there.
Right.
For 5 hours, these Negroes had lost their mind.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it was explained by Dr. McClellan up there, it makes all the sense in the world. Because if you can get the $3 million, up to $3 million for both schools, that makes sense because Southern was not going to be on the schedule. Well, that ought to be your business model going forward. But it also ought to be telling you that ESPN, we need to talk about this thing because they're only getting $1 million, from on the Celebration Bowl. But then how is the Birmingham Bowl that they may be able to get up $3 million for the Celebration Bowl that's supposed to be the big, the grand finale? They're only splitting $1 million or getting $1 million. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let me answer.
That's a little backwards.
Let me answer this right here. Shady Grove Bear says North Dakota will put 60 on Jackson State. I know it's recency bias and Jackson State lost really bad to South Carolina State, but North Dakota State would not put 60 on Jackson State. Let's be realistic. And that's the problem with listening to too many, that Jerry Springer content. Now people are believing North Dakota State will put 60 on Jackson State. What the hell is going on? I mean, they're good, but they won't put no 60 on them.
No, they ain't gonna put no 60 on them. And especially if you look at recruiting this year, they have upgraded virtually every position.
Talk to them.
This coming year is going to be better than it was last year. And if you look at the linebackers and the defensive ends alone, compared to what was there, and I'm not knocking Deontay Hampton at all. The brother played out and he did good. But look at the guy that just got from Maryland. Look at the guy from Texas A&M, the guy from Middle Tennessee State. The guy from Florida State, the Josh Gaddy kid. Now Gaddy, he's gonna have a rough time this year starting. That's how much.
Wait. I think Niles Gaddy will have an upgraded role. Remember his job. I watched this film, my brother, and Niles Gaddy's job was to contain the edge. He wasn't the main edge blitzer like James Houston. That's the sacrifice. You can't have everybody blitzing and going down here. You got to have someone to what you call to stay home. So when you watch the SWAC quarterback, right?
But the only thing I'm saying, and I like Niles Gaddy, I do, but and it may come in the springtime, but I just need to see just a little bit more killer instinct when he does get there.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But
I like him. I mean, I like him as a player. But what I'm saying is now, look at all the edge rushers Jackson State has brought in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. You got the Josh Griffith's kid. You got Niles. You got the guy from Texas A&M. You got the Michael Plius guy.
Yeah, he's a dog.
And then Shamar Stewart comes in. That's going to be a whole lot of hybrid linebackers / defensive end. Rolling in there for trying to take James Houston's spot. And then, you know what I'm saying? You got 2 to 3 deep on each side, on each end. But then you got to figure who's going to play the other linebackers. Because Zion Hobson is no joke himself.
Yeah, he's a real deal.
With the Jeremiah Potts or whoever.
Wait, let me read this point, my brother. Let me read this point, my brother, because I think this is important. Shout out to the CFL podcast. Make sure you subscribe to his channel as well. Cole Simmons says Niles Gaddy was never trained till he got to JSU. That's why I kind of believe he will excel. See, when he was at Tennessee, brother, Niles Gaddy didn't have the one-on-one training that he has with JSU. It's not even close. And all he needs is a couple moves. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I do agree this will be the toughest to start. That Jackson State defense is going to be so loaded. The second string, I'm just going off the depth. The second string will be like a first string. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm just going off the depth.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not down on Niles Gaddy at all, but I'm just saying it's going to be stiff. Because they didn't really have anybody else who could, really do, no better than what he did, obviously, James Houston. I mean, I'm not complaining about his play at all.
Right.
I'm just saying this year, he's going to have to step it up. So, boy, you got some straight-up dogs who can flat out get after it.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't just him and Houston. It's 5 or 6 of them competing for 2 spots right there.
Right. It's the real deal.
It's going to be tough, and I can't wait to see it, to be honest with you.
Competition is going to make this team so much better. I'm excited about the competition. Now, I made a video today talking about the Jackson State wide receiver core. That's going to be the toughest competition right there. I know they play an air raid, but they got a lot of receivers, man. How do you think that's going to shape out?
I think they counted up as like 11 or 12 receivers.
Yeah, it's a big number.
Well, this is the thing. And you can go ahead and include me in the crowd. It was like, good God, they're loading up on receivers, but then it made all the sense in the world because of this. The first thing that Bart Alone said is that we're going to play fast and we're going to score a lot of points. Now, with that being said, can you imagine being in the secondary in the SWAC? You usually are not going to have 2 deep in the SWAC secondary, like really, really good defensive backs. If they go 4 wide and you got fresh legs coming in all the time, most of the time, by halfway through the second quarter, you're going to be gassed. Then you're going to have your second string DBs basically taking on Jackson State's, I guess, so-called beach team that would be as good as anybody else's A team. And so you got to choose your poison. What are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? So it made all the sense in the world. But there's going to be some defections in there, too, because there's some kids that were there that were hoping they were going to get a shot that they might not have nowhere to go.
Exactly.
And if they pull off this sign, they surprised like they talking about that maybe coming in from Georgia, it's a wrap. It's straight up a wrap.
And people don't even the players that didn't really play that much, a la Brown, some say one of the fastest kids on the team. I mean, you got underclassmen play and Quay Davis. I'm telling you right now, for those who are listening, Quay Davis he's like a mixture of Dez Bryant and Deebo Samuels. Built like a running back, can catch over people, strong, can break tackles, shifty, total package. And it's Chris Silas says you got Brown, Hooks, Wyman, Davis, Hunter. You got more names than that. You got All Out Brown. You got I know they got the transfers Mark Pope, Jordan Williams from Indiana, and the brother from Texas A&M. Buckley, yeah. Cameron Buckley, Who else? Who else we missing? I'm trying to. I'm trying to make sure I got all the names. There's a lot of receivers, man. Oh, Jonas Fortalin. Remember, he committed. He's a 4-star at some sites. He's a 3-star at most. Rucker. You can't forget Rucker, especially the game he had against FAMU. Trevante Rucker. I literally thought Trevante Rucker was gonna have 1,000 yards after that FAMU game. Like, he went off against FAMU. They got to get him involved more, because what people don't realize, Trevante Rucker averages 18 yards a catch. If I got a receiver on the roster averaging 18 yards a catch, I'm telling the coaching staff, we got to get him involved. Because next season, they're going to double Malachi Wyman. And then you got Coleman coming in.
The problem with Rucker, I know that the problem, it wasn't his fault, but simply from the standpoint of he was playing out wide. And our offensive line was so bad. If you think about it, the reason why Corbin got as many balls as he did, because he was running a lot of stuff up the seam.
Right.
Where, you still had to get rid of it. But if you look at the line that they're assembling, and, and now he's going to be, 3 seconds, 3 steps, 3 seconds, and he's getting the ball out of his hand, I think we're going to see something entirely different this go round.
Yo, I see it too, man. It's gonna be pandemonium. Someone said Tyson Alexander running back one hands down. Yeah, be on the lookout for Tyson Alexander. Tyson Alexander played on worse offensive lines than this past fall, and him coming back with an upgraded offensive line, and they missed his explosion. Like, he has an explosive running style. They missed that last season, and he rectifies that. Also, I want to ask you before you go, what team do you see will be, or teams do you see that would be a challenge to Jackson State? Somewhat of a challenge.
FAMU is going to be a challenge. I wish they didn't play that game the first game.
I hate it too.
For both. Yeah. For both teams, I think that game needs to be at least 3 or 4 back to let both teams get that stride, because that's what the fans were really like to see both teams at their best. And I played college baseball with Cornell Manning at A&T. And believe me, Cornell didn't take that whooping lightly last year. And he's always been a big talker, but he was a heck of a quarterback at North Carolina A&T.
Yeah, he was.
And you see the stuff that he's doing at A&M, as far as recruiting, it all depends on what they get as a defensive coordinator, because he's going to try to light the scoreboard up. But that may be the sleeper game this year. It won't be as easy this year. And Hugh Jackson and Eddie George. I think we have 4 or 5 legit teams that can really, if we come out flat, it might not be good.
You're totally right.
Can I ask you one question before we?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are your thoughts on T.C. Taylor as a coordinator last year? And when you finish, I'm gonna sound like you. I want to speak on it after you say what you got to say.
Yeah, I made a video on it because everybody was just like, this new coach, and I hope he does well. It's good. If he does well, it's good for Jackson State. But they forget what T.C. Taylor had to work with. When you have an inept offensive line, you really can't really create the plays that you want to, because you won't have time. And now this new coach is going to have everything imaginable, all the talent in his disposal, improved offensive line, more weapons. He gets that. And I'm going to be very real with y'all. I just hate that TC didn't get the opportunity to play call on all offense with this upgraded talent. But hey, I'll make the decisions. I hope the new offensive coordinator does his thing and contribute to more wins. But TC Taylor turned this team around. Repeat that?
So do you think that's what it was? Is that, yeah, I mean, I agree with you, that's the line. But he went away from the game plan he had at Alabama A&M. And like, yeah, you can bring some of it online, but some of it, I ain't going to say some of it, more than I would like to admit on his play calling. I mean, it's like this. If you know your line is not very good, then as the offensive coordinator, you're going to have to be a little bit more creative. There were no misdirections whatsoever. There were, you should have got the ball out of Shador's hands a whole lot faster. And those are all the things that he can control. And some of the play calls, even though it wasn't his playbook, there were plenty of things that he showed against A&M, like he was showing those diamond formations.
Right.
Never saw them again after A&M. There were a lot of things that he could have done that he didn't do. And I'm not trying to down the brother, because that's just not who I am. But one thing we ought to know about Coach Brown, if it ain't pleasing to him, he has no problem replacing.
That makes sense. But you understand what I'm saying about the offensive line. It's just that you couldn't really, even if this year's coach was coaching this team, he wouldn't have done as much. Even if he would have put a little more yards, it wouldn't be that much of a difference. The offensive line is the most important position in football, and without that protection, it's just.
I mean, that's realistic. I mean, can't nobody really argue that. Like, it's just, there were some things that as a coordinator that he could have done that wasn't so predictable that could have created a better situation for the offense. I mean, as bad as the line was, you could have won a whole lot more quick screens. I don't know if J.D. Martin had sent somebody off or not, but J.D. Martin should have been getting more touches than he was getting, especially in the South Carolina State game. J.D. Martin has a quick burst. He's got good hands out the backfield. When you've got a porous offensive line like that, where then there's some plays you can run to take advantage of, somebody charging hard up the field to kind of slow that down a little bit.
It makes sense. That makes sense. Well, thank you, Mr. Lee, for calling in on the show. You're always welcome, my brother. Shared a lot of wisdom, and hope you have a great day.
Man, y'all have a good one, man.
Yeah, peace and blessings. That was Mr. Lee. I like calls like that, man. Everybody has an opinion. And it's nothing against this new coaching staff. I just believe that they have the advantage that the previous coaching staff didn't. And they should look well. I mean, you got too many weapons. It's impossible not to look well. Let me read some of these comments. GS says, JSU has to use the tight end. Man, look at these NFL teams. They use a tight end nowadays. They have to. Now, this new offensive coordinator, will he do it? He comes from the Mike Leach coaching tree, and they barely use tight ends. So let's see if he makes a change in that. Yi G says no excuses this year. It's on the offensive line coach this time. Every year it can't be offensive line. You're right about that. They gotta maximize their talent. Russell Haynes says JSU will have a winning season, but will not be in the Celebration Bowl. FAMU or the Big G will be against South Carolina State. Will be waiting on them. Yes or no? You never know. And like we saw last season, if Jackson State doesn't take every opponent seriously, then it could be trouble. I was looking at Alabama A&M's recruiting, and they went transfer portal out. I think they got 2 high school players, Akil Glass's brother and a lineman. But besides that, they got another quarterback. His name is Jaron Williams, came from USF, I mean. And then I'm going to tell you 2 players who are going to be very impactful for Alabama A&M. Marquez Beeson, 4-star. He went to Duncanville. I seen him play Duncanville. He's a real deal, came from Illinois. And then Darren Turner, 4-star, 6'3", 206 pounds. Coach Manor always finds receivers everywhere. He's never going to have a problem finding receivers. Look out for him. They added a bunch of safeties. Charles Bell from Marshall. Moses Douglas from Kentucky. He's battle tested. He played in the SEC. Another Arkansas player, this time is an offensive lineman, Ray Curry, 6'6", 320 pounds. So that loss that Coach Maynard took, I would guess that there were probably sleepless nights. All he can think about is the game against Jackson State. It motivated him. And sometimes a butt whooping helps. But Alabama A&M, man, they're going to be really good. And don't forget Grambling. See, Grambling, I like the high school talent that they got. Shout out to Tyson Bordeaux. Shout out to the young receivers that they have. Shout out to the flip commitments that they got from Southern. I know Southern's pissed about that. But even with the decommitments, Southern has some good players. We already know that Grambling has defense. That was never a problem with that team last year. The offense was stagnant. And if you think Coach Hugh Jackson's going to have a stagnant offense this year, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Some people said don't sleep on Mississippi Valley. Yeah, I like some of the pieces they add. Mississippi Valley has added more JUCO players. Like they're JUCO'd out at Mississippi Valley. Kellen Cunningham says, I give Grambling 3 years before they make some noise. I think they make some noise this year. But I respect your opinion. Hey, guys, we're complaining about a team that was the best in the SWAC. I'll tell you one thing about Jackson State. I've never seen a SWAC team that was nitpicked so much as Jackson State. So much. It's never good enough for them. Going 11-2 is now a bad thing for a team that was losing for 6 straight years. But when Jackson State was losing, it was cool to make fun of them. But to say they can't have their moment in the sun is just plain old hating. I don't care who leads this movement. I don't care if it came from FAMU. I don't care if it came from Alabama State, UAPB, Prairie View, whatever. I believe that whoever's leading this Renaissance movement right now in the HBCU, we got to come together and stop with the buffoonery. You can root for your school. You can root against Jackson State when you play them, especially if it's a rival. When Mississippi Valley State says, I can't stand JSU, I respect it because it's a rivalry. They never hated on their recruiting like that or their players. So stop egging it on and let's come together. Let me read some more of these comments. Yeah, G says they hating because they lost to a high school coach for the first time in college. Oh, they hating big time. Kellen Cunningham says, facts. Never seen that much hatred for one particular team like that. It's weird. It's odd. I don't like negative energy. I'll be the first to tell y'all. I try to avoid dark energy as much as possible. Haters gonna hate, man. Yeah. But JSU, you got to embrace the haters, man. You got to have haters. Because that means they want to be like you. Antoine Walden says North Dakota State and Jackson State, that game would be a battle because JSU has the depth at every position to battle. Dennis Stern has dogs he needs, so it would be evenly matched game. North Dakota State is not Bama. Stop. North Dakota State lost a game that they shouldn't have lost. So they're not unbeatable. They just know how to win in the championship. When the championship's on the line, North Dakota State knows how to win. But to lie and act like they are unstoppable, that's not true at all. Chris Salas says Valley may shock or scare some teams like they did last year, especially when they played FAMU. Man, I have a good feeling about Texas Southern. I just have a good feeling about Texas Southern. They're young last year, and they literally stole some games. Now, older, more wiser, and even better, they're going to make some noise. And Andrew Body, he's going to be very improved. And there's not going to be too many quarterbacks as good as him. Blog Jones says, Jess, you got another cornerback. Travion Beasley had offers from USC, Oregon, and Michigan. What class? I'm going to take a look at it. We'll go on Twitter. Thank you for the update, my brother. Jackson State. As soon as I'm talking, they got another commitment. Football. That's really cool. Only at Jackson State. Yep, I see it right now. Travion Beasley. Wow, this is a good get. Hey, you know what's crazy? Travion Beasley already put Jackson State on his bio. Yeah, he's bought in, man. He's bought into the program. Already got the Jackson State information on the background. Oh, he came from John Bosco? Yeah, I see it. Yeah, that's a powerhouse in Cali. Wow, that's a big get. Waldo says, give Andrew Body O-line and he will torch a lot of teams in the SWAC. That is so true. It's going to be trouble. So what game are y'all looking forward to next year? I know some of the schedules are not out, but what you can tell already from a couple team schedules. Let's see. Travis Jones says SWAC championship is up for grabs on both sides. Sleeper teams are Valley and Texas State. Yeah, don't sleep on those teams. That would not be a cakewalk. That would not. If you think those games will be a cakewalk, so Tavion Bailey, and let me show you his profile real quick because he just committed to Jackson State. It may not show on this recruiting site, but we're gonna see. We're gonna have everybody take a look. All right. Let me do this real quick to show you guys. Big commitment from Jackson State. Let me take that out real quick. That's Travion Bailey, high 3-star, 5'10" corner, had Pac-12 offers, had an offer from Michigan, had an offer from BYU, had an offer from Arizona State, had an offer from Oregon. So he's a lot better than his ranking. He is a high 3-star. It could have been a 4-star. Usually people in the 24/7 rankings who have a 0.85 or more score are high 3 stars. He had a USC offer, Oregon State, Oregon, Michigan. So he's the real deal, and he's battle tested playing at St. John Bosco. And let me go and confirm it here because he just confirmed it on Twitter. All right. He said, committed, all glory to God. You see it right there. He committed to Jackson State. Shout out to Jackson State for getting another one. Another one. Man. He's going to earn some playing time. Going against Centennial and all those teams in Cali, he's not going to be phased one bit. And that's the one position that you have to have upgrades as DB. You got to have upgrades at DB. No matter what. Because when you play a fast-paced offense, when Jackson State plays a team like Grambling, who use their tight ends, play action, scat backs all the way around, you got to rotate. Because Hugh Jackson is going to up the tempo. And Willie Simmons, since he has an upgraded quarterback that came from Vanderbilt, he's going to be a lot better than the previous quarterback. This SWAC play, man, I'm so excited. I wish I could teleport to next year. Yeah, let's get it to 150 likes. Come on, family, 150 likes. Waldo said, Hugh Debo Jackson. Taking them recruits. Taking those recruits. I like Nugget, Travis Hunter, Beasley. Man. Now, don't forget Wiggins. He came from ULM. He played a couple of snaps last season. Shout out to my dog, Swag Buzz. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. Good brother. Great content. Great content. Yeah, let's get the likes to 203. Now, family, when Jackson State plays against Grambling, and Grambling fans, please forgive me by telling them this, but I have to say it. I repeat, do not blitz Grambling. And if you're going to go off the Tennessee State film when Hugh Jackson was the offensive coordinator, that's not a good idea because Hugh Jackson was only doing what he was supposed to do. Eddie George wanted a run-based offense with more tight ends, fullbacks, 12 personnel. That is a fact. When Hugh Jackson was an offensive coordinator for the Bengals and the head coach of the Browns, they had a more spread out system, more up tempo. That's what he likes to do. So it's going to look completely different than Tennessee State. Trust me. And if you blitz Grambling, and that's for any team, FAMU, anybody, they have the speed and the athletes to torch you. It's a warning. Watch out for Grambling. That's why I'm not saying it's going to take a 3-year project. I know what they have. It's going to be bombs over Baghdad. It's going to be bombs over Baghdad every game. Waldo 205 says, oh, yeah, Grambling torching teams through the air all season. They are. It's coming. If you play Grambling State, you better zone. You better zone all game. I'm just the messenger. Kay Lofton says they can blitz, but linebackers can't cheat. You got to mix your coverages. You could do zone blitz, but you can't just man blitz that team. Shout out to Eni. He says UCLA quarterback will get happy feet. At times, but watching this film and with the coaching with Hugh Jackson, there's times where Kanjaya can process the offense and just extend the play. He can do that. But with the tutelage and the coaching of Hugh Jackson, that's going to get fixed. I'm not even worried about that. And he says Alcorn is nowhere. Alcorn. I'm gonna tell you about Alcorn. Their players, for some reason, when you count them out, play hard. They don't give up. Remember last season, they had a losing streak. It seemed like everybody in the SWAC gave up on Alcorn. And then they were 2 games away from going to the SWAC championship game. Alcorn has a certain style to them. They have a culture to them. They're just not handling out offers like that. If they're going to offer a transfer portal player, it's going to be somebody that fits to their culture and system. They're always like that. Shout out to Fred McNair. I have so much respect for the brother, and they're going to play hard. Now, the problem is the SWAC is so much better that no game is going to be easy, especially for Alcorn. So even if they improve, guess what? The whole conference improved. And like Andy says, he says Valley will beat Alcorn. Valley can beat a lot of teams, not just Alcorn. They can sneak up on some teams. Jeffrey says that Alcorn crap. Hey, man, I'm just saying they play hard for their coach. For some reason, when you count them out, they show up. So I'm gonna take a wait and see approach with Alcorn. I know they got that quarterback from Louisiana Tech, but he barely played any snaps, so I can't really judge. Jalen Jones, I forgot he plays for the. I forgot about that. Jalen Jones. I heard he talked some trash about Jackson State when he left. Is that true? Because I heard he was talking real greasy about Jackson State. And one thing about the Jackson State players, when they're motivated, it's like Jekyll and Hyde. They transform into a different team that we have never seen in the SWAC. That was the only problem with Jackson State. Sometimes it was inconsistency. Oh, they're going to take that game personal. Any says that he talked trash to Coach Prime, then he didn't want to clear his film. Oh, that's disrespectful. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That's why Jalen Jones was not in the clips. So he tried to mess up the documentary by taking away his film away from production. But to be fair to Jalen Jones, just like Jeffrey Ziegler says, if Jalen Jones is put in big sets, he would be dangerous. Yeah, if he's in a run-based offense and able to use his athleticism, you got to run some spread option with that quarterback. I'm talking about Florida style, back in the late 2000s with Florida, like that kind of style. That's what you got to do with Jalen Jones. Yi G says JSU is not getting Shamar. He has made that clear. If here's the thing, if Jackson State don't get Shamar, okay, they'll get another highly ranked player. As long as they get one, it's good. Like, I would love to have Shamar on this team, but it's not like the end of the world. 745 says JSU quarterback. He says it was during the time we was making the documentary. Makes sense. Joy says all because his ass lost his spot to a better quarterback. And I'm glad you mentioned this because I'm tired of people being sensitive with the quarterback issue. If you're a 4-star quarterback and you could have gone to any other school, and I don't care if the D1 schools took the offer away from Shadir Sanders. I don't care if that happens. When you commit to a school, they're going to take away an offer. That's what happens. So that's why I always say they were offered by this. So when I look at Shadir's profile. I see an Alabama offer, a Baylor offer, SEC offers all around. And then he committed to Florida Atlantic. And there was an article that Shadir talked about playing for a black coach and how that was so important to him. No one brings this up. You know why they don't bring it up? Because they're trying to paint a narrative. They want this kid to fail so much that it makes their day. When Jackson State lost to South Carolina State, I could have sworn people did backflips all around social media. The buffoonery was at an all-time high. Instead of congratulating South Carolina State for being the better team that day, out coaching the team and being more physical. Cooley says, good content, bro. Hey, man, I'm trying, man. Keeping it real. Also, if you want to call in, here is the number. Because I know y'all got a lot to say. Call-in number is at 857-799-9625. I'm going to say it again. 857-799-9625. Now, we're about to go on commercial break, and I'll be right back. Y'all stay tuned. Today's show is brought to you by Booked and Busy Talent. Booked and Busy Talent is a full talent agency that doesn't chase deals, they create deals. Clients receive counsel from strategic management consultants who have worked at Google for former President Barack Obama and in the healthcare industry. Their cross-industry business knowledge has helped them secure groundbreaking deals for their clients, such as first-team All-SEC gymnast Darian Goburn, the undisputed queen of the four, and Jackson State University two-sport human highlight reel Malachi Wyman. What are you waiting for? Get booked and busy today by contacting them at bookedandbusytalent@gmail.com to set up a future client consultation to get your NIL deals rolling. I had to get a water break. You know, when you're doing these streams, my dog CFL said, my boy getting the bag. Hey, man. And the perks of YouTube. KD Hall says, I just hope next year JSU focus on football and get Tid off the sideline interviews. Well, this should be all about football, especially preparation. Mr. Jones says, you paying attention to Christian Miller? I heard about it. There's a good chance FAMU may get him, though. He says he might really commit to FAMU tomorrow. Him and Isaiah laying off the edge is crazy. You better have your offensive line secured. One thing Grambling has is an offensive line. They have upgraded that position, having 2 JUCO All-Americans on their team. 2 JUCO All-Americans. Romello Watson and what's that brother's name from Kilgore? Uba. And they're 300-pounders, and they're 6'5" and up. That's what you need to get to protect your quarterback. Benny says UCLA quarterback is a bum. I don't think he's a bum, my brother. I just think he wasn't. When they had a quarterback, they had 2 good quarterbacks already there. And when you have one-on-one coach, when you don't have one-on-one coaching, it doesn't get your potential release. You don't have the quarterback coaches all centered for you to get better. Everybody's working with quarterback one. That's how the game goes. Now that he gets to be coached by Hugh Jackson and he gets that one-on-one time, he's going to improve. I think he has the tools. I like his mental makeup, good size, good athleticism, solid arm. You can win in a SWAC with a Conjaya. Now, do not sleep on Bolden. the freshman quarterback last year. He was put in a tough spot playing with an inept offensive coordinator at the time. And he was trained by the legendary Bruce Eugene. Bolton's going to have something to say. Wait, the Washington football team's new name is the Commanders? Oh, that's lame, man. I ain't going to lie. I'm saying, that's lame. I apologize to all Washington fans. That's lame. The Washington Commanders. To state your opinion, please call into the show at 857-799-9625. Read some of these comments. Waldo says UCLA has 6 quarterbacks in front of them. Yeah, they had a bunch of quarterbacks. How is he going to get better by having 6 quarterbacks on that team? Travis Jones says JSU's new stadium is going to be a dome like the Houston Texans Stadium. That's interesting. Cooley Fagan says, I'm a Washington fan, and that name is whack. I feel bad for y'all, man. Chip Kelly system. Joey says, I'm excited that Jackson State has a 5-star kicker. Now we ain't got to go for it. 4th and 3rd. Man, with this offense, you may not even need the kicker. I got a question for you all. With Travis Hunter playing on this team, and he said he's going to play both sides, how many snaps do you think Travis Hunter will have on offense? Because, man, they got a lot of receivers. I'm interested to know. I mean, it's a lot of receivers on this team. Chris Silas says more than 20. That's a good number, man. That's a good number. Jeffrey says he kept it a buck. He said Travis Scott ain't getting that many touches. Vaughn says maybe 15, 3 to 5 from Carlos, because you got to keep them 5 stars happy. I think Travis Hunter will have 10 touches. That's what I think. He will have 10 touches on offense. B Fresh says, I'm excited for Quay Davis. Oh, Quay Davis. He about to man, if you from Texas like I'm from, man, you know that Quay Davis is that dude. Joey says Travis may be a gadget player. Let me see. Read that. Yeah, Joey says Travis may be a gadget player that may be used all over the field. That may happen. Benny Frank says Trav gonna be game by game, 5 touches a game max. He might play 10 plays. That could happen. Waldo says 10 to 15 plays. Makes sense. I'm sticking by the 10-play prediction. I just think Jackson State has so many skill players and so many athletes on that team. You got to balance egos. You know how it is, man. Use as a decoy, all right. Jeffrey says, Hunter will be a game changer, much like Charles Woodson did at Michigan. And Charles Woodson, he didn't have a bunch of touches. If you remember Charles Woodson playing, he didn't have like 20 touches a game. Every time he touched the ball, number one, it was good play calls for him, but it was always a big play. The Washington Commanders. Come on. Come on, Washington. Y'all got to do better than that, man. I mean, come on. He said that doesn't fear nor scare anyone in the NFL. Washington Red Wolves would have been better. You know why, Travis Jones? You know why Washington did not want to be the Red Wolves? They were so mad by losing that name, Redskins, that they were just being petty. They knew a lot of the fans who were against the Redskin name wanted Red Wolves. So that's why they didn't add. That's what I believe. They were just being petty. So they're pretty much telling the fans and the people that didn't want the Redskin name, if we can't have our name, you can't have yours. So they picked a sorry name. Go figure. Joey says just a threat on offense going to be open. It's going to open up room for those receivers. Vaughn says Quay is a starter for sure. Yeah, Quay Davis is a starter. I'll be surprised if he's not a starter. Vaughn says they're gonna lose 5 to 6 receivers by next year. I don't know about that. I think 2 receivers will transfer out in the spring. Can't make everybody happy. Jeffrey Field says, "Are we playing anyone outside of the SWAC this year?" The schedule. Are you a Jackson State fan or a Grambling fan? Who are you a fan of? Number one, Jackson State schedule, I heard, is coming out this year, this week. Chris Sala says he may be on defense more, though. Yeah, he's going to be on defense more. Man, can you imagine him and Nugget on the good luck throwing at him? Because if you throw on Nugget's way, it's going to end up badly. And if you throw on Travis Hunter's way, it's going to end up horribly, and he could take it to the house. Carlos says factor in if Eric Gilbert plays. Did he commit to Jackson State? I heard that there's a good chance they could get him. But, man, they'll have a lot of tight ends, a lot of receivers. One thing I got to give Coach Prime credit, he's one of the best coaches in managing ego. Best coaches in doing that. Because last season, everyone wanted to have the ball, but they made it work. They all made it work, and that's impressive. That's that Phil Jackson coaching trait. When you can just worry about the players you have, and you don't have to worry about them lashing out to the media that they're not getting their touches and all that. None of that happened last season because a lot of coaches would not be able to handle that. LP Freely says, do you put your best on Hunter? I couldn't really read it. Joy says, I think Travis will definitely be on the field on third downs. He will. Vaughn said they got 17 wide receivers. I get it. They play the air raid, but not everybody's about to play. They could rotate 5 to 6 receivers every time, but they got more than 12. Waldo says Texas A&M got into it with Perkins' mother, so I don't think he's going back there. Oh, yeah. That's one thing you don't do. You don't diss mama. Right? Don't forget Kalen Kennedy, one of the top JUCO corners. Some say number 1. Some have him at number 7. He's a slot corner. Gonna hold that down. And what about Isaiah Bolden? That's another DB who's fast, one of the best, well, the best FCS returner in the game right now. If Perkins and Shamar Stewart go to Jackson State, they're winning the SWAC and they're winning all their games. Those 2 players are franchise-changing players. They can start in any school. They could start at Bama. They can start at Clemson. They could start at Ohio State, Miami, you name it. Content and Benzo said they got too many wide receiver transfers. I'm still confused. Why would they like? I'm talking about the wide receiver transfers. I'm not talking about the high school transfers. Knowing that Jackson State got all those receivers, do they actually think they're going to start over those brothers? And I'm not down in the talent. I'm just saying that's how good they are. My daughter, CFL podcast says JSU has 3 top-ranked starting corners. If Perkins and Shamar comes to JSU, it's over with. It's over. Over. It's over now. That's what I'll be singing. It's over now, and no one is found. The hate is gone. Jackson State won. Oh, man. Yeah, Bolden does got to stay healthy. That's why you got to get all those DBs, man. There was a couple of DBs that was banged up last season. Russell Haynes, peace and blessings, peace and love to you, my brother. He says, keep JSU offense on the bench by running the ball. Man, you ain't lying about that. Pound the rock. Don't just air it out to be airing it out. I'm telling you, Devon Campbell is what you call the jackpot player. Devon Campbell is an instant starter. He just looks like an NFL player, and he's in high school. He's a bona fide 5-star. And he's going to protect Shadir Sanders if he goes to Jackson State. Jeffrey Ziegler says, Jackson State and Grambling for the title game. I pray that happens. Jackson State and Grambling State in the title game will be pandemonium. It's going to sell like a mug. Everybody and their mama's going to be there. It's going to be like a family reunion. It's going to be full out fun. Jeffrey Fields says, I'm a JSU fan and Hugh's doing the damn thing. He is. He's doing this thing, man. And it's funny. They make it seem like Jackson State fans are just haters of other teams. But again, just like this brother here who's a Jackson State fan, giving credit to other teams. I'm not saying this because I made more videos of Jackson State. I'm just keeping it 1,000% trill with y'all. Out of all the team's fans in the SWAC, Jackson State honestly doesn't. They hate the less because they got so much good going on. They're out here congratulating. You see them on Twitter congratulating other rival teams' commits. That's when you know you're not a hater. Alabama State got another. They got another good player. They got a tight end, Javaris Jenkins from Mobile, Alabama, 6'3", flex tight end. Good pickup from them. Another signing from Alabama State. Shout out to Eddie Robinson Jr. Eddie Robinson Jr. was getting so much hate. He's a new coach. I get it. But I was like, damn, man, you're going to let him recruit his players first? Everybody like, oh, he's going to have a losing season. How do you know that? You're not in the coaching staff. I am building. Jones says Grambling has me worried as a Jackson State fan. They itch all the way together. Recruiting, NIL, facilities, coaching program is doing big things. That's why I believe they're going to be winning more than what teams think they are. That right there. See, Grambling State is like, I see Jackson State's blueprint, and I know we don't have Coach Prime, the pizzazz he has, but we have a coach who has played in the NFL that got connections. So let's use these connections, and let's go full throttle. And Grambling State right now is not playing any games at all. They're all the way bought in. As I'm looking right now, they got another commitment from what state? From California. They got another California commitment. Cheo Chapman. Another commitment. This is astonishing right now. Coach Hugh Jackson is not playing games with anybody. These high school players are taking notice. And you know why they like Grambling? Y'all really want to know? Y'all really want to know why these high school players like Grambling? Because Grambling is offering more high school players than transfer players. Let me say it again for the people in the back. Grambling State is showing respect to the high school players by offering them more than the transfer portal players and some JUCO. They did offer some JUCOs, a couple of them, but they didn't stack the deck with it. These high school players respect it. And then they're giving some offers to some gyms who have the talent to get offers, but are overlooked because of the transfer portal. They gave them offers. Now the recruiting class is a juggernaut right now. FAMU doing the same thing. Shout out to FAMU. And I hope you brothers get and sisters get Christian Miller, that 4-star defensive lineman. I want y'all to get that player. Because this is bigger than one SWAC school. We can't level the playing field if we don't come together. That should be the message. I'm not here to sell you a book. I'm not here to promote just my channel. I'm just speaking raw, uncut truth that you all deservedly need. Right, Jeffrey Ziegler? A lot of these coaches are too comfortable with that portal stuff. They out here, they're not scouting. These coaches, they're not all, because you know how to get emotional. These coaches are so lazy right now. A high school player be under the coach's, a position coach's tweet. Look at my film. It takes 3 minutes to look at a film. You know what they do? They ignore it. Oh, let me go in the portal and look for somebody. Lazy. But that's not what Grambling State's doing. You send Grambling State a film, 50% they're going to look at it. And that's a good number because they're busy. I respect Grambling State. I like their motto. I like what they're doing. I like what FAMU doing. FAMU keeping it balanced. Yeah, they may offer a portal player, but you better be damn good. And do you know? And guess what? FAMU has the least transfer players out of all FCS schools. I had to keep it silent right there because who does that? FAMU, out of all FCS schools and a lot of FBS schools too, have the least players transfer out. That means the players at FAMU are bought in. They believe in Coach Willie Simmons and his vision, and they believe they can win a SWAC and go the distance. That's why Isaiah Land stayed with FAMU. Man, there was so many FBS schools trying to get Isaiah Land, you just don't know. He had to turn that down because he said, I'm not turning my back on HBCUs and I'm not turning my back to FAMU. You know why he didn't turn his back to Willie Simmons? And I'm talking about Isaiah Land. Because when Isaiah Land was a skinny defensive end, nobody wanted to get him. They disrespected the brother. But Willie Simmons saw something special in Isaiah Land and molded him to the player he is now. And Isaiah Land is rewarding the coaching staff for believing in him. I had to get a swig of water. when I go in that preacher mode, man, I had to get a swig of water, man. I had to do it again because it's whoo, man. But you're definitely right, Jeffrey Ziegler. The transfer portal is like a blessing and a curse. Oh, AB Fresh, Aubrey Miller, man. He has done a 180. I'm checking out the offseason workout videos he's doing. He looks like a monster. Aubrey Miller's trying to get drafted high. He looks like a Greek sculpture right now, the way he's built, and he's keeping his speed too. Travis Jones says high school player is more important than a portal player. Grambling State is very smart. Yeah, and you can mold high school players more than a transfer portal player. See, not all transfer portal players, but most, they feel entitled when they come to a smaller school. Remember that one, what's this guy? Dylan Spencer, that Spencer guy that played offensive lineman. And I know this is a reality show, but I didn't like what he said to Coach Prime. Oh, I didn't have to go to HBCU, man. I should be treated better than this. Y'all know he transferred right back to Mizzou. See, those are not the players we need in HBCUs who's going to disrespect the coaches, the culture, because HBCUs have been sending players to the NFL longer than most FBS schools. Put out more Hall of Famers than them. So you better put respect on their names. Talking about y'all need me. Mad because a brother like Tony Gray has done everything right. Everything I heard about Tony Gray is good. Gets good grades, stays out of trouble, works hard, coachable. And you were mad because the coaches liked him because he did everything right? Of course. See, this is what today's players got to work on. You got to worry about yourself. And if you worry about yourself, good things will follow. You know how many times in high school I knew a coach liked one player more than me? Did I take that personal? Hell no. I'm like, hey, man, this person is getting good grades. That player is doing everything right. That player got D1 scholarships all over the place, doing something right. I need to catch up. That's the mindset you got to have. You got to take away the jealousy and replace it with envy. Shout out to Hoop Jargon. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. He said facts. HBCUs do their thing in the FBS football world. I Am Jones says, you know what? FAMU, Grambling, JSU have in common. Their social media presence is top notch. They utilize IG and Twitter as good as anybody. That is true. Especially FAMU. FAMU got the media game on lock in HBCUs. Whoever does their games, their broadcasting, they deserve a raise at FAMU. They deserve a raise. We got 220 people in the chat. Make sure to get it to 220 likes. Cute Horn says, thank you for not screaming and yelling. I appreciate that, man. I'm not trying to have no Jerry Springer show, man. There's a time and place. There's a difference between passionate speech and just yelling, just be yelling. Hoop Jargon says, bingo, as a PV fan, I'm not going to hate on the Big Four. We need to step up online. That's real right there. Shout out to PV, another school that don't be hating on teams. PV got a great fan base, great facilities, top 2 in the SWAC. Some say number 1, next to Alabama State and FAMU. Great program there. My father's alma mater. So I have a soft spot for Prairie View A&M. I want them to do well. And I need to start talking about what they're doing. The cat, because I'm gonna be honest, I really did not delve into what PV is trying to do. Being honest with y'all. B Fresh says, "Nah, we didn't need a player like that in the room. What good is it going to do when he's causing conflict in the room? Good luck to him, but we good." Exactly. No locker room cancers at all. I don't care if you come out of Alabama. That stuff is not needed. There was another comment I saw that's just B Fresh says, DJ Raw, that player was hating on Tony. Yeah, I saw it, man. Oh, well, you like Tony more. Duh. It's so simple. When you're making good grades and you're coachable, you're going to be liked more. It's nothing personal. I mean, damn. I forgot what's that player's name that committed to Jackson State last year. Dylan Spencer. It was Dylan Spencer. That was his name. And I hope he does well in this next journey. But if you think that committing to a HBCU is some type of stepping stone where you just get everything you want, you got another thing coming, man. Because I don't think any of these HBCUs are going to be putting up with that shucking and jiving and trying to. Y'all should have seen this brother's, like when he committed back to Mizzou, he had a post saying how comfortable, like going to a place I'm comfortable with or something. I'm like, come on, man. And you look at the comments, people are like, I knew you would come back. I knew that HBCU stuff wasn't for you. I knew. Come on, man. I mean, it reminds me of the Django. Remember, I hate to do this with this player. Y'all remember that movie, The Django, when Samuel L. Jackson's character ran back to Massa Candy? He ran back to him. You good, boss? That's what it looked like to me, man. That post right there was just like, come on, dog. Joey said he comfortable on the bench. I just want to be at a place where I'm comfortable, where I get to do what I want. So you don't like it when a black coach is getting on your tail for not attending classes, being coachable, but you're comfortable when a white coach does it. See, that's the hypocrisy of it. We got to start respecting our black coaches more. Stop saying that y'all want black coaches to coach when you're not even respecting them. You got to mean what you say. These coaches deal with so much, not only on the field or court, but off of it. Disrespectful-ish. He had the nerve to tell Coach Prime and Coach Prime, he's nicer than me. Coach Prime handled that really well. Because he was trying to talk to him like a father. Like, hear me out. Why are you worried about what Tony doing? He's doing a good job because he's bought in. Now you got to do what you got to do. Coach Prime is telling him what he needs to do, and he doesn't listen. Well, I didn't need to come here, man. Y'all needed me here. Come on, man. That's why I respect Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, not one time did Travis Hunter try to big time SWAC schools at HBCUs. Not one time. And he's a highly ranked player. He's ranked higher than Dylan Spencer could ever be. Travis Jones says Steven went back to Mizzou. That's what it looked like, man. I was like, man, Mizzou, Massa Mizzou. I couldn't wait to come back. It was so tough at Jackson. The tough coaching. Coach Prime told me to be accountable. I've never had a coach tell me that. I'm so glad to come back to my white coaches at Mizzou and to be where I'm comfortable. I'm a fool, man. Comfortable. Give me a break. Yeah, we don't need those players in the SWAC. That's one thing about Coach Prime. He'll lay the law down. He ain't putting up with none of that crap. Yeah, Mizzou, Jantown said Mizzou not even a top tier school in the SEC. Exactly, but it's the one SEC school where he can do whatever he wants. IP Freely says, I know his cousin. He's a big baby. We call him Big Bay. No lie. All that crying and stuff, man. Who Dragon says, tell him about that gun line, boss. You go to a poor SEC school and you're acting like it's the best thing to slice bread. Y'all should have seen that post, man. I'm finally home. I'm back to a place where I'm comfortable with. So you're not comfortable with being around your brothers and sisters at HBCU. That's what it sounds like. Wait, Spencer went to Madison Central? Why would he post that crap? That's sad, man. The suburbs. Yeah, that is the suburbs. That makes sense. Madison Central is where the suburbs are at. Okay. Yeah. So he's not used to being around brothers and sisters. That explains a lot. Jeffrey Ziegler says he went back to finish fourth in the SEC East. Not the SEC West. Fourth in the SEC least. Y'all should have seen that post, man. When I watched that post, I was shaking my head. I said, this is the type of players that nobody in the SWAC, because I know FAMU wouldn't put up with it. Hugh Jackson definitely wouldn't. You know, Coach Prime won't. Fred McNair, Coach McNair, he wouldn't even think twice of adding a player like that. Elijah Watson, Candyland. Yeah, he's at Mizzou Candyland right now. He's back home, boss. That explains everything. Madison. I heard that was the suburbs out there. Madison Central. Jensen James says, I'd rather a black coach than a white coach any day. Talk to him. Yeah, I want a coach who understands me as a brother, knows that I'm a young black man trying to make it up and trying to become something in this world. That's who I want coaching me. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of these kids are brainwashed, man. Again, they want that complexion for the protection, and they think that the complexion for the protection is going to give them NFL opportunities and everything. But the best NFL opportunity was right there in Jackson State, and he blew it. Because he worrying about what another player do. That's the number one thing you do not do, and all the high school players listening. Y'all listen clear. One thing you do not do is worry about what another teammate is doing. Worrying about if a coach likes him more. No, you do your job and good things happen. Don't worry about what the other player's doing. Coach, why you got him a captain? Because he makes good grades and shows up early to practice. It's not that difficult. I Am Jones says, when Travis, the number one player in the nation, is showing respect and is proud of JSU, it sends a message to teammates and fellow recruits. It does. When Travis Hunter committed to JSU, it felt real. Nothing was phony about that. He didn't have a Jackson State hat just as a display and just throw it out and pick some other school. He took Jackson State seriously. And do not tell me Travis Hunter won't be a first round pick if everything goes well, of course, because he would have been a first round pick at any school. He's compared to Charles Woodson, for crying out loud. Had the highest grade as an athlete in years. EG says hopefully he will be mature and become successful in that environment. Clearly he needs to mature. Yeah, I hope all is well too. I know we were joking, but I hope all is well for the brother. Chris Otter says that explains why he acts the way he acts. Madison Central. IP Freely says, trying to tell you, bro, they act like that. I'm not surprised. Gina Walker says, brother, please remember that brother is a young man. Sometimes it takes years of life experience to open one's eyes. Let us just wish him well and leave a light on him. You're right. Let's hope that he does well. But I did want to make an example for athletes. This is not a stepping stone. When you go to HBCUs, it's a historical black colleges for a reason. So I'm pretty much saying put some respect on HBCUs. That goes for everybody. Joey said Madison Central, they were our rivals in high school. They rich and spoiled. Yeah, that explains it. Hoop Jargon says, in all seriousness, being a SWAC athlete ain't for everybody. It'll humble you so quickly. I've seen so many casualties, bro. Proud to have earned my stripes. And Hoop Jargon, as a basketball player in the SWAC, earned his stripes. He never complained. That's why he's successful right now, because all the stuff he has learned from the SWAC in HBCUs. Jacktown says, wishing the best, though. 1,400, not for everyone. That's okay. Yep. All I'm saying is, if you transfer out of Jackson State or any HBCUs, don't do no subtle shots like that. Say I'm comfortable, I'm at a place where, don't do all that. Move on gracefully. He didn't even thank his time with Jackson State when he committed. Y'all realize that, right? So that tells you how he feels. Chris Silas says JSU ain't for the faint of heart. Man, when you have a coach like Coach Prime that benched his own son, Shiloh, for a half, that tells you the type of coach he is. Pacific Coast says Jackson State is going to release the schedule tomorrow. A.D. Robinson said on a pregame show on Monday. Looking forward to it. B Fresh says, we don't want silver spoon players. We want them dogs that eat bare hands, potty meat. Yeah, talk to him, man. Jackson State is not for the weak. Your mind got to be right. Your mind got to be right. We go play for Coach Prime. Because what have you heard from Coach Prime through the years? He's a perfectionist. He hates to lose. He hates to be around people who don't think like him, that don't want success like him. He's always been this type of coach, player as well. Shout out to Tomorrow Leader Sports Network. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. He has a great video that he just put out, Legacy, and he talks about Niles Gaddy and Niles Gaddy's father. It's a really good video. I Am Jones says Travis will get more opportunities to display his skill set both sides of the ball than any FBS school. That is true. Because I know FBS schools that tell players like this, hey, we're going to play you both sides and we're going to do this and that, and they barely do it. Danny says you will never hear about him again. Oh, shoot. Dang. Hey, tell them how you feel. Joey says a lot of these players think the SWAC offer them a guaranteed ride and an easy day. With the talent that's coming in, some may be better off where they're at. You ain't lying on that. You are not lying. The SWAC is not a cupcake league. They're not. We know the weaknesses of the SWAC is really trench play. And if the top 4 teams get their offensive line perfected, it's going to be a lot of winning. Hoop Jargon said, that's facts. The silver spoon fits will eventually quit on you. Yeah, they will quit on you. I don't want to be around those. If I'm an athlete, I don't want to be around silver spoon players. Because if we're in a tied game and I need a game-winning touchdown and the receiver is a prima donna, and he's talking about how he ain't getting no touches, I'm not gonna win that game. Or if you got an offensive lineman at an overtime game, you need good blocks for 20 seconds. And one lineman says, I'm tired, I don't want to do this. Why are you yelling at me and not this player? You can't win with those type of guys. Joey says, if you come to the SWAC, you're going to have to compete for what you want. Yeah, every player that comes to the SWAC, you gotta compete for your position. No one's handing out positions, no matter what SWAC school you go to. 745 JSU Quarterback Club says, Travis Hunter is a very cool guy. I hung out with him at our basketball game. I believe he's very down to earth. I'm Jones says, you notice Prime don't promise his recruits too much. He don't kiss up, and he makes it clear that you got to earn what you get like any other top program. That is true. You know what? You didn't even hear Travis Hunter said, oh, I'm going to be the starter. I'm going to start on both sides. I've heard Travis Hunter says, I have the opportunity to play both sides. We know he's going to start, but he barely mentions that. And that's how Coach Prime is. He don't promise you that you're going to play automatically. He'll tell you, this is our team, this is our dynamic, and that's what it is. Shout out to the CFL podcast. He said, I just got done pre-recording all the videos of potential big names for tomorrow. Y'all subscribe to the CFL podcast. He's going to have some great videos lined up tomorrow. He said, better live up to your expectations. I hope you're right, brother. I hope you're right. Chris Silas says, all I want to see is the O-line revamp and the running game improve. That's really all JSU needs. They got everything else. Darren Jennings says, I hope the recent threats at HBCUs make the players think insightful about commitment. Well, whatever's going on is sad, and I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by anything. Jealousy is like cancer. It's rampant. And the people who are making those threats are just haters who don't have their own lives together. So they're bored with misery and they want to bother everybody else that's not doing nothing against them. But it's been like that for years. So I'm never surprised when I see stuff like that. And it tells us that we have a long way to go. Even though we have dealt with 400 years of slavery, we're still dealing with plus years of ignorance. So we got a long way to go as a people, all of us. And just how ironic that this was announced the day before signing day. They'll do anything to kill a mood. They'll do anything to lower everyone's excitement. Right, Danny, mad because blacks are choosing blacks. Mad because brothers and sisters are choosing to stay home where they're comfortable. You see what I did there? Comfortable. Yeah, I saw that Brian Flores situation. You know, one thing about Brian Flores never complains. Yes, anybody who knows Brian Flores, you look at his memoirs, his culture, like he's a quiet coach. So if he says something, you know it's a problem. It's Amber Alert says it's intimidation. It is intimidation. Now, if you're a top commit, ignore the threats. They're trying to sway you from picking these schools. Ignore them. Because why would you go to their favorite schools? See, they didn't make any threats on their schools. But all of a sudden, it's HBCUs. I wonder why. That threat, that imitation tactic that they keep doing, it's not going to faze me. Because the mission is the mission. The mission is to not only level the playing field, but enhance the playing field to a level that all brothers and sisters can look back and say, we have something here that we could pass down to generation to generation. A better future, better education, better jobs, a better tomorrow. Because we all came together and supported each college. And we did it with love. We did it by trusting each other. That's why it's so important. So you won't see me do any clown show streams. Why would I do that? We have this going on. Threats to historical black colleges, not a regular black college, historical black colleges. So no, I'm not going to be buffooning this week or ever, because I never do. The mission is the mission. So top recruits, ignore the powers that be. They're trying to take away your moment. And this is Black History Month. They're trying to silence your voice. Don't let them take your voice. Don't let them take your power. Don't let them intimidate you. Don't let them lie to you by telling you if you go to HBCU, you will never amount to anything. That's what they're telling these kids. But they're lies because they fear what's going to happen. So tomorrow I'm going to be smiling. I'm going to be smiling like the late, great Gregory Hines. Shout out to the brother Juju Knows Who's. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. He said, great job. Proud of you, my brother. Thank you. Great brother right there. Black History Month. You want to put threats. They don't respect our History Month. That tells you something. Now you could have waited. If you're gonna make a threat, do it after Black History Month. You're gonna try to do it on Black History Month to put salt on the wound. But these people don't care, man. They don't care at all. And family, there was only a few YouTubers that talked about it today. I did, CFL, and many others. That's sad. That's the one bad thing about YouTube. It's so much about clout that we can't even talk about things that's going on that's important because you don't want to lose some of your subs. A bunch of sellout energy. And I don't want to be a part of that. Right, Danny? Stay woke, man. I'm not going to let this YouTube game corrupt my mind, my spirit, my conscience. Right, YG? Yeah, tomorrow, everyone that's listening, let's not give the negative forces out there any energy. Let's keep it on the excitement that's going to happen tomorrow. Let's stay focused on that. Oh yeah, South Carolina State. Hey, CFL. When I made a video about the recruiting classes, right? Part 2, I mentioned South Carolina State. They do things the last minute, and ironically, they're making moves, man. This is why you got to go to the CFL podcast, man. He's up to date with all this recruiting stuff. Brian Johnson says, "Speak the truth will set you free." That's all it is, my brother. That's all it is. IP Freely says, "Yeah, they kept quiet." Now any of the big time media people talked about the threats. That tells you who really cares about our people or not. That's why I respect so, and I know I mentioned this again, but CFL podcast, he's so balanced because he could talk about what's really going on around the world with our people and still keep his channel entertaining. That takes skill. Not a lot of people can do that because they're worried about, well, I may offend some people. I may offend my supporters who are not my kind. But at Raw Truth Media, don't you know, I got a couple of non-blacks who message me all the time. Keep speaking truth. Even if I don't agree, keep speaking truth. That means they're on the right side of history. B Fresh, oh my God, it's just sad. Look what B Fresh just pointed out. B Fresh said they talked more about Coach of the Year Prime getting his stuff stolen than this news. Sad, bro. That's pathetic. And you know what the powers that be are going to do? Let's say that Jackson State only has one highly ranked recruit and everybody else went somewhere else. They're going to diss them. They're going to be like, well, I thought you were going to get multiple 5 stars. Just watch if that doesn't happen. Shane Trent says went from NFL to Jackson State. Okay, that was random. Fred Flintstone says MEAC owns the SWAC. Hey man, they got the numbers, man. Shout out to the MEAC. Hey, when you're winning like that, I can't really say anything. Hey, you got to rep your schools there. Jay Will says Russell, that's a bad example. She just pulled the card to help secure. Okay, I think I just clicked on the wrong one. Amber Alert says Prime been coaching Pop Warner in high school. So wrong. Yeah, he was trolling. He said, Shane, no, he didn't. You trolling. He never coached in the NFL. Yeah, I don't know where he's getting that from. That's just, so probably got some of that Crown Royal on ice right now. I don't blame you, brother. Hey, you must be having too much fun right now. Travis Jones says South Carolina State should be the first game on the schedule. I agree. I need something different, man. I don't need no Edward Waters. No, anybody but them. No D2s, no NIA. I'm sure South Carolina State wouldn't mind doing a game. I'm sure they don't mind it. We need to have that rematch. I Am Jones says, I can't front on the MEAC on the field. Off the field, they need to promote themselves better. That's what the MEAC needs to do. They do need to promote. Danny says ESPN took Travis from number 1 to number 2 after he picked Jackson State. Yeah, that's the politics I'm talking about. That's the politics I'm talking about. Jeffrey Ziegler says they helping Edward Waters because it's an HBCU. Well, South Carolina State's an HBCU. I just don't want to see that. And I think these players should play They want to play against top competition. North Carolina, A&T, somebody. There's a lot of HBCUs who are in the FCS. And when you play against Jackson State, that generates revenue all off the back. So, recruiting news from FAMU. FAMU, reported by Coach Simmons, has just signed a 6'2", 220-pound linebacker, number 8 in the class. Yes. Signing day special is going on right now. Coach Simmons is just shout out to Coach Simmons for the news. And that's why you should subscribe to his channel. IP Freely says Edward Waters need the money. I mean, here's the rule. If you're going to schedule a team like that, Edward Waters, you better have one really, really good team, a great team, a top 10 FCS school. If Jackson State scheduled Kennesaw State the first game and then play Edward Waters, I'll let that slide. But I just don't want to see that, man. I don't want to see that. I know I'm just being selfish because I just really want to see Jackson State flex their talent. Because a lot of teams are talking all that mess about them. We just had some shine on the comment section saying that North Dakota State would beat Jackson State by 60 points. And that's those fake narratives I'm talking about. Nobody would have been mad if you said North Dakota State would win against Jackson State. It's when you say that they'll beat them by 60. Yep, South Dakota State, one of those teams. Yeah, we do. Tennessee State does need to come to the SWAC, man. Tennessee State would generate more money in the SWAC. Can you imagine if Tennessee State and North Carolina A&T was in the SWAC? Joey says, might as well play Delta State again. Yeah, Delta State is way better than Edward Waters. They're a top 25 Division II team. Like, is it too bad for me to say that I want Jackson State to play somebody? And some of the names I listed off wasn't juggernaut names. Oh, we do have to talk about, in fairness, like I.M. Jones said, North Dakota fans talk all that mess, but they don't want to travel to the vet. There's a point. Now, I know this is true, and I don't care who said what or what. I bet you if Jackson State ever talks with North Dakota State about schedule, will they be willing to go down to the vet? I think a lot of you forget when Jackson State is motivated, they're like on another level. They're on another, when they're pissed off and motivated, you get the best of Jackson State. Coach Simmons says they ain't that stupid. Yeah. You know what they'll tell Jackson State? No, you'll come to Fargo. We're not going to the vet. That's exactly what they'll tell Jackson State. So it's not that easy there, but I just don't want to see no Edward Waters. I'm just keeping it real with that. Northwestern State, Jackson State, Northwestern State will be a good matchup. Yep. There's teams there. Man, that game could have been worse. Amber Alert said, I agree. They tore up Alabama A&M. I've never seen a coach, man, or team get beaten like that. And I mean, not even Not even the FBS teams beat a Quill Glass, Connell Maynard team ever like that, ever. That was the best performance I've seen from a SWAC school in years. And you could talk about the Alabama A&M's defense. It wasn't good. And I know they're going to be better. But still, Jackson State could have pumped 80 points in that game. Hey, CFL, I'm down with that. They need to play Southern Miss since their fans had so much to say. They need to start playing teams that was talking all that mess. I want to see that. Yeah, all the SWAC needed does better. It can't just be Grambling. Like that schedule that Grambling has is going to prepare them throughout the whole SWAC. But I'm excited. Peace and blessings to everybody. Peace and love. Do not forget to become a member of Raw Truth Media. It's only $2.99. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel as well. Let me send you the link to join the channel. To become a member of Raw Truth, we're going to do articles, more of a diversified content in due time. But I'm excited for the spring. I'm excited for how this team's going to look like in the fall. This is not the time to be haters, but congratulators. Amberle says, bye, Shane. Oh, man. B Fresh says, JSU needs one more good class. We'll enter the playoffs. PCU IP friendly. Love your neighbor, love your friends, even love your foes. Raw Truth Media. Peace and blessings to everybody, and let's ride.